Good afternoon, boys and girls. Welcome to the final live stream for this 2025 and 2026 season. My name is Matt Perrault. I'm your host for this three-ring circus that we're calling here on BettingPros, alongside Andrew Erickson and Pat Fitzmaurice, two guys that every week we chatted with off and on, me and one of these great hosts, one of these great analysts. Well, now you're getting all of us today for 1 hour before the Patriots. For the 12th time in my life, I didn't know if I'd see the 12th time the Patriots will try to win a championship here against the Seattle Seahawks. If you are a Seahawk fan, sorry, just out of the gate, sorry. This wasn't intentional. We didn't mean to do this as like a full-on Patriot, like Dunkin' Donuts, Pat the Patriot, Super Bowl hat, like Erickson, all of us. Fellas, great to see you. This is going to be fun. How are you?
Amped up. Where else would you rather be? Patriots back in the Super Bowl after a long 5 years. You know, Mac Jones, Cam Newton, man, it was really tough. I didn't really know how I was going to rebound from that, but hey, we're back. Let's go.
Pat, do you feel a little bit like neglected here today?
I feel like I've been allowed to crash the Patriots watch party. So, yeah, I'm just an interloper here. I'll try to be the neutral observer.
The funny thing and the fun thing about this game coming up is that regardless of who wins, for me at least, I make money because I have two tickets in the futures market, one on Seattle and one on the Patriots. So I'm really focused on the prop market, and I'm way more committed to the prop market than I have been in years past. So we're going to give you guys things you can bet on throughout the show today, ways you can approach this game. But just from each of you, as we head towards kickoff here in a couple of hours, Andrew, we'll start with you. What's the prevailing opinion, the prevailing storyline that you think is number one as we kick off?
I think for me, it's how this Patriots defense matches up against Seattle's offense. I think that, when people ask me, okay, Rams, Seahawks in the NFC Championship game, as a Patriots backer, who would you rather face? And I thought, again, looking at the teams, looking at the Rams, looking at the Seahawks and what they both do well and what they don't do well, I felt the Patriots matched up better against Seattle's offense. You have a passing game that goes through one guy, Jackson Smith-Njigba, he Offensive Player of the Year. Patriots have one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL who could theoretically neutralize or slow down that number one pass catcher and force players like Rashid Shaheed, Cooper Kupp, tight ends that are not household names to then beat the Patriots defense. So I liked that factor. You have a defense that, when healthy, with Spillane and Tunga and Milton Williams, that shuts down running backs. Can't run on the Patriots defense when those guys are all healthy. Okay, JSN slows down with Christian Gonzalez. Ken Walker not ripping off as many big plays. Now the game goes into Sam Darnold's hands, where it's a drop back passing game and he's throwing to his number 2 and number 3 options. Sam Darnold's at his best when he doesn't have to go through multiple reads, when he can just hit JSN really quick. And that creates opportunities where the Rams couldn't stop JSN. Like, they didn't have the secondary to do that, even though they do have a good pass rush. The Patriots, even outside of Gonzalez, Marcus Jones, one of the most underrated slot cornerbacks in the NFL. Carlton Davis, he's a number 2 guy, but he's experienced. He has Super Bowl experience. And that's the other storyline I really like, is the Super Bowl experience on the Patriots side. That's a big advantage for them. Mike Vrabel's played in multiple Super Bowls. Josh McDaniels has called, I think this is his 10th Super Bowl that he is like a part of, and 6 that he is calling as an offensive play
6
caller.
rings.
So,
he has 6 rings. A little playing. He's got 6 championships.
So if I'm going to be backing a certain coach, especially with him versus Kubiak, where's Kubiak going tomorrow? Las Vegas, right? Like, that's where he's going. He's going to say hi to Matt Perrault in Las Vegas because he's got to go coach his Las Vegas Raiders. So again, those kind of micro edges, I like the Patriots side of things when it comes to storylines in this game.
Pat, I know we did the show on Tuesday, so I already know kind of your hand here, but what's the storyline you're looking at for this game tonight?
That both offenses are going to have a hard time solving these defenses. And Seattle's defense ranks number 1 in DVOA, and historically it's been a top 10 defense in terms of DVOA all time. And on the other side of the ball, you've got a red-hot Patriots defense that's given up an average of 8.7 points and 209.7 yards per game in the playoffs, and has gotten 57 pressures on quarterbacks in its first 3 playoff games, and is giving up 3.1 yards per carry. We've seen all season, whenever Milton Williams and Robert Spillane are both healthy, or at least playing, we know Spillane's got an ankle injury, but he's expected to play. You just can't run on the Patriots, and they have held some really good running backs under 50 rushing yards. So I just think this could be a pretty ugly game, quite honestly. I know that's not what people want to hear, but I don't think we're going to see a track meet like we saw with the Seahawks and the Rams a couple weeks ago. Like I think this could be kind of a punt fest, and I'm betting it accordingly.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how this game goes. We have prop bets so we can kind of all get into. I know, look outside your window with a super chat. We appreciate you. We're going to get into that here with teasers and point spreads and how we're going to break it all down. So we appreciate you on that super chat, and we will definitely get you to the best way you can build different legs of parlays. I don't recommend doing it, as we know, but if you want to do that, we will try our best to go ahead and make that happen for you. So let's get into some of these ways of betting this game. Let's just start with the spread. I think this number has been too high. It's been 4.5 for pretty much the last 4 or 5 days. It went as high as 5.5. It opened at 3.5. I think the actual number is 2.5. Erickson, for you, spread too high, or is it all Seattle today?
Spread's too high for me. The look-ahead lines before the conference championship games were Seahawks minus 3.5. And nothing that I really saw played out in the conference championship game was where, this should now move up another point in favor of the Seattle Seahawks. The last 5 underdogs I've all covered in the Super Bowl, 5-0. So I think the Patriots with the points is the best way to attack this from a spread perspective.
Pat, for you?
I agree the spread is too high. And that's why Patriots on the money line was actually attractive to me, because you can get it at plus 190 or plus 195, which is basically telling you that, that says the Patriots' true odds of winning the game are about 35%. I think they're closer to 50%. So I think that's a good bet, and that's why I like the Pats on the money line rather than the points.
From a total perspective, and we've seen this tick down, it's gone as high as 46. It's come down to 45 at most books here for this game. We'll see where the late money comes in. But Erickson, we've seen a lot of professional money come in on the under. I have faded this. I'm betting the over. I could be dead wrong, but I think late in the game, we could see more fireworks and we could see some turnovers in special teams, touchdowns and or set up plays for touchdowns. So I like points. Do you think we're going under or over 45, 45.5?
I like the under in this game. I think that, to your point, it goes over because we get special teams or defensive touchdown, right? And I can watch a game and tip my cap to those that bet the over because we get a defensive or special team score. It's like, hey, like you were right. But if this game is ugly, like you guys kind of talked about in the intro as we were kind of getting started behind the scenes, if it's an ugly game, I'm not suggesting that's going to be points. I just don't look at this matchup and think, oh, shootout. Like, no, I don't think that at all. And if that's the case, again, you have this total and kind of in no man's land where 47.5, that's kind of where you're in the territory of, okay, this is like a high scoring game. And then you have the 42, 41.5 where it's going to kind of be a slugfest, lower scoring. Because it's in the middle here, I feel like people are kind of hedging their bets, literally. So I like taking the under here. 2 defensive-minded head coaches, and I also really like the under in the first half. To your point, if things start to break out, it's probably going to be in the third and fourth quarter when they're a little bit more aggressive. It's like, hey, we got to score. We got to generate a big play. Let's be more aggressive. We're in the first half. I think it's going to be these teams running the ball a lot, trying to feel out what the other team is doing, especially with 2 head coaches that are coaching in their first Super Bowl.
Pat, I know you like money line, but does that mean under, or do you like the Patriots to have a high scoring game and win this game, but going over 45?
I think the under is my favorite bet of anything, any prop side total. I like the under in this game. And I do get nervous betting the under in a Super Bowl. It seems like they tend to produce a lot of points, and certainly some of the things you were talking about, Matt, could short circuit in under bet, the short fields, the interceptions that, set one team up at the 15-yard line. We've got 2 punt returners who are among the best in the game with Marcus Jones and Rashid Shaheed. I think they've combined for 3 punt return touchdowns this season. So there are things that could definitely destroy the under here, but I think both offenses are going to have a really difficult time consistently moving the ball today.
I think this really comes down to whether or not Drake May can settle in quickly up against this defense. I hope Josh McDaniels is going to take out those little bubble screens and wide receiver sweeps and some of the things that he has done in previous iterations. He did it with Brady a lot early to get the quarterback comfortable, and it ends up really like short-circuiting drives. They're essentially like giving up first downs and giving up drives pretty quickly, just trying to get your quarterback into the game. Now, obviously, it worked. It worked, later in the fourth quarter several times. So you're not trying to lose the game in the first quarter, but the Patriots have got to be able to stretch this defense. They got to make these safeties respect not just Stephon Diggs, but Boutte and others, and Hunter Henry, and finding ways to get, even if you're not going to complete it, throw it, go deep, show that you're comfortable using the full field versus like what they did against Denver, which was the first pass of the game, should have been picked off. If it was, we're probably looking at Denver being in this game. And then the Patriot run game, in order to set up the play action, they're going to have to use both. I think both backs have got to be effective tonight. I think Trayvon Henderson has got to be utilized more than he has been here in the playoffs. And the Ramondre Stevenson cannot fumble. Like he has got to hang on to the football coming up here for today. We're talking about
don't speak those words, Matt Perrault. Don't
saying
those words into existence.
To me, this comes down to one stat that I'm watching the entire game. If the Patriots go up 2-0 in the turnover margin, they win the game. If they have one turnover in this game, I think they lose. But I think the total is pretty accurate. I think it's right where it should be, 44, 45, 46. I think it's going to fall somewhere in that range. And I think we could very well see, kind of a wonky 24-17 type game where we're like right on the number. We're like watching to see if we're going to go over or under. And then for me, from a teaser perspective, I bet the over, but I like what both you guys are saying. And I bet the over immediately. And then I started to do some research and started to talk to some people and started talking to bookmakers and the sharp money, the people that really know what they're doing in this world. They're hammering the under, and it hasn't moved as much as I thought it was going to move, but it still moved to 45 at most sharp books. So here's a way to play it. It's all the way at the bottom. Here's a way you guys can play it. Patriots plus 10.5. If you agree with the three of us that the line's too heavy, make the Patriots a 10.5 point dog, and then go up to 51.5. and go under. So if you're looking for a way of sort of trying to thread the needle a bit, Pat likes the under, Andrew likes the under. I like the over, but I'm hedging that a touch by trying to thread the needle and have this game fall like 48, which would be perfect. A Patriots win and it falls 48. My prediction is 27-24, which is 51, which would be perfect if it falls right then and there. Guys, let's talk about the first half a little bit here, because the Patriots have a stat that I am trailing, and you can see it on the screen. The Patriots, since week 3, have not lost a first half money line since week 3. Now, they could have last week against Denver, but Denver missed the kick, and then they could have actually won it, but they missed their kick. So it was 7-7 at halftime at Denver, but the Patriots covered on the spread against Denver. They're catching 3.5 now. I bet 3. It's now 3.5 in the first half for the Patriots. Any interest in a first half bet for the Patriots with the points, Erickson?
You make a lot of good points for that particular bet. I mean, you have me convinced. I hope that's the way that this shapes out, that they do go into halftime with a lead. I'm curious about how McDaniels has done, those Patriots teams that he's called, how they have done in the first halves. I know that they haven't necessarily scored a ton of points, but most of the Patriots Super Bowls have been lower scoring in the first half anyway. So, yeah, that's definitely something that I would add to my card of Patriots plus 3.5, you said, in the first half.
Yeah. I bet 3. It's 3.5 now. I couldn't believe it last night. It got to 3.5. I was like, oh, my gosh. Pat, for you like the under. That would lead towards the dog, no, to take a team catching points where we could wind up having a tie game at halftime?
Yeah, I got to add that to my card, Matt. Getting more than a field goal for a half. Yeah, for a first half spread. I like that bet a lot. Yeah,
and I mean, they're 18-2. If you want numbers, the Patriots are 18-2 against the spread in the first half, and they've just been, for whatever reason, they get off to really fast starts. Now, there's a lot of stats about the Seahawks in the first quarter that they have been dominant in the first quarter against teams. They have jumped out on them and sort of held them down. So you could say, maybe you take Seahawks in the first quarter and then the Patriots in the first half, if it goes by how the games and the trends have run it. But I just think this Patriots team, people have just underestimated their ability in the first half, because I think it just, people forget about what they've done overall. The Patriots are 14-6 against the spread this season. Like, that's a ridiculous number. And you see people in the chat, game's going to be over before the second half begins. Like, that is the prevailing. I spent 3 days in San Francisco interviewing former players, current players, media members, talking to people on microphone and off microphone. And Pat, the prevailing opinion is that this game's a massive mismatch. 9-0. I had 9 people. Now I had more interviews. Current players did not want to make predictions. Current players were like, I'm not touching this because I think they want to play for one, and maybe both teams potentially one day. So they didn't want to say anything. But former players and media members, 9-0 Seattle, they picked to win this game.
I know everyone likes Seattle, and I get it based on, like, historically, this does look like one of the best teams of the last decade or two. And I understand that. I do think people are sleeping a little bit on the Patriots defense, which statistically, I think it had some lapses because they had some injuries, mainly Spillane and Milton Williams. But when those two have been together, this defense has been pretty airtight and hard to compete with. So I don't know that I like the Seahawks offense that much better than the Patriots offense. And I think the Patriots defense can, like, be as effective as the Seattle defense can be.
Here's a stat that if you are one of these people that think it's going to be a blowout and you're going to run to Twitter or to your group chat when the Seahawks are up 7-0 or 10-0, I'd be careful. Between 22 and 24, the Patriots were 3-29 straight up and 5-26-1 against the spread when they trailed by 7 or more at any point during the season. That's Belichick. That's Mayo. That's the worst mark in the NFL over those 3 seasons. This year, the Patriots are 6-2 straight up and 4-4 against the spread when trailing by 7 or more. And the Patriots have won 6 consecutive games outright after trailing at any point by 7 points or more this season. When they go down, they don't panic. And that's coaching and that's experience. And a lot of that's the defense because they can clamp down, right? They went down 7-0 to Denver last week. They scored 10 straight points and they won the game 10-7. Could that happen this time around? I don't think so. I'd be stunned if the Seahawks only score 7 points in this game. That'd be very surprising. But the Patriots do have the ability to come back. And that leads me, Andrew, to ask you about in-game betting here. How interested are you going to be in the in-game market if we're seeing some pretty wild fluctuations in the numbers?
I mean, that makes me really interested in taking the Patriots on the money line after the Seahawks score the first touchdown. Like, that makes sense, especially if they score on the opening drive. You're going to see those odds dramatically shift in favor of Seattle, and it's probably going to be
big.
Too much, yeah, like by a significant margin when, no one's going to be necessarily accounting for the fact that, well, Seahawks got the ball first, and the Patriots get the ball in the second half. You could see a situation where the Patriots double dip. They score at the end of the first half. They score at the beginning of the second half. So I really like that a lot. And I know that there's a lot of these sports books that offer boosted on live bets. So it's like, hey, if you're watching this game, you want value even more on the Patriots money line, or they like the Patriots. Yeah. I mean, someone's probably going to go down 7-0 to start the game anyway. So yeah.
If the Patriots score a touchdown first, that'll be wild. Seahawks people won't know what to do with themselves if that ends up happening. You might see a waterfall of all Seahawks money line if that comes in, because you probably get big plus money on Seattle. I guess not big, but you get plus money on Seattle most likely if that were to happen. Guys, great time to download the BettingPros app if you have not done so yet. As we end the football season and head into basketball season and hockey season, you guys can get all your line alerts. You can track your bets right to your phone by downloading the BettingPros app with Sportsbook Sync. Automatically track your bets across all major sportsbooks in one spot. You can easily monitor your bet performance by sport and bet type, including game picks, props, and parlays. You can create custom betting systems to find winning trends and profitable opportunities. And new users can get 6 months of BettingPros Premium for free. That includes the prop bet cheat sheet with your first deposit and wager at one of our partner sportsbooks. You can learn more about that by logging on to bettingpros.com/premium. All right, let's get into some of the team props, guys. Things that we like here for team props. Erickson, where are you on some of these either Seahawk or Patriot props today?
I do think that Seattle's defense is going to get pressure on Drake May, and I think they're going to get over 3.5 sacks, which you can get at plus money plus 120. Drake May has faced a top 10 defense 4 times this season, 3 times in the playoffs. Played the Cleveland Browns earlier in the year when Myles Garrett just looked like an absolute one-man wrecking machine, just because Will Campbell can't hang with some of these more elite pass rushers. But he's been sacked against these top 10 defenses at least 5 times in every single one of these matchups against a top 10 defense. So the line is 3.5. and you get plus money towards the over. I think Drake May, unfortunately, is going to take sacks at this point in this game, even though he's going to make some plays with his legs. So I am taking the over. Again, this is one of the few bets I have on the Seattle side where I'm kind of projecting how their defense performs against this Patriots offense. And though it's the negative towards the Patriots, I do think that Drake May is going to get sacked. So
look, he's given up 5 in every playoff game. So I don't think it's really a negative as much as because if Drake May steps up in the pocket and he gets tackled behind the line, that's a sack. It's not like your traditional drop back, blind side, oh, I fumbled the football type of sack, but it's still a sack nonetheless. By a stat perspective, if Drake May gets tackled behind the line of scrimmage, that counts as a sack. So I like that a lot. I also like over 5.5 sacks for the game for both sides because I do think Sam Darnold's going to get hit. I know, Pat, you've looked at the offenses as well in a similar way when it comes to the sack market.
Yep, I'm on that, and so is JB Bruno in our chat. He likes over 5.5 sacks. I think that's a great bet. I like Erickson's call too. Drake May's been sacked 5 times in each of the Patriots' first 3 playoff games, and we have seen Will Campbell have trouble with long arm pass rushers. And guess what? All the Seattle pass rushers are big range dudes with really long arms, so that's a major problem. So I think that's an issue for the left side of the Patriots line with Jared Wilson and Will Campbell. And I think the interior of the Seattle offensive line could have a lot of problems with the Barmore Milton Williams combination. Like I think those are both kind of mismatches. So I love over 5.5 sacks.
Yeah, if you can find it. Not every book's got that. So if you can find that, I've seen most books in Vegas are separating the 2 teams. They're not giving you the one combo. I love the combo because I do think you could get one team. It could be 4-2 easily, where maybe the Seahawks have 4 sacks or the Patriots have 4 sacks. And then 2 is the under for one of those 2 teams, either Seattle or New England would go under their number because both the numbers are either 3 or 3.5 for sacks. So I do, if you can find that bet where they're combining both teams and overall total sacks at 5.5, I couldn't find that last night in Vegas. I was kind of pissed off. I was looking around, but I did bet that. I have bet the under 1.5 yards for the for the shortest touchdown. It's an auto bet for me. I don't care who's playing. I don't care what the game is. I don't care where the game is. It's just because of where we see the flag so often. If you're flagged in the end zone, the ball comes back to the 1 and it's a push, it's a QB sneak, it's a rush in, it's a 1-yard touchdown. That's all that I need is a 1-yard touchdown, and I cashed this. I've heard a lot of people say they like the over in this because it's going to be super low scoring, and if that's the case, okay, I may only have a couple of shots at cashing this. But Pat, how do you feel about that? I know we talked about it Tuesday, but how do you feel about under 1.5 yards for the shortest touchdown?
Yeah, I was very much in favor of that bet. I think that's a good call. We're probably gonna. The only thing that worries me, Matt, is that as from my perspective, betting the under and thinking this is a game where we could only see 3 or 4 touchdowns. Will one of those 3 or 4 be a short range touchdown? But like in principle, I like the call. I think there's a reasonable chance we get a 1-yard touchdown.
And Erickson, I'm playing points in the first 6.5 minutes of this game. I know it's a contrarian play, but I've talked to a bookmaker friend of mine who has taken big action 4, 5, 6 minutes. The pros don't like 4 minutes. They don't like 5 minutes, but they've been hammering under 6 minutes for the first points to be scored in this game. You could have 2 very quick drives for both Seattle and New England. On that 3rd drive, whoever gets it kicks a field goal, and we wind up going 3-0 inside of the 7-minute mark. How do you feel about points in the first 6.5?
Man, I don't know I don't know how to wrap my mind around that exact number where it's like, no, we don't like 5 minutes. We don't like 5:30, but 6 minutes is the key number. I mean,
6.5 minutes is what I played.
6.5 minutes. I definitely will be keeping an eye on that for sure when the first score is. I don't know if I will personally bet this. I did want to add one thing to the other bet that you have on the 1.5 yard touchdown, the under or the over. If the Seattle Seahawks don't run the football under at the 1 yard line, there are literally going to be riots in the streets of Seattle. So from your perspective, yes, just give it to the running back. They're probably going to end up scoring. I mean, Mike McDonald's been asked that question like every single interview. It's like, so you're going to run the ball or are you going to throw the ball at the 1 yard line like they did in the last Super Bowl when Malcolm Butler had the interception? So I would feel pretty confident that they're going to give Ken Walker at least a decent amount of carries if they are at the 1 yard line. And
they don't have Marshawn Lynch this time, though, Erickson.
And
no
Charbonnet
Zach
either.
Charbonnet, yeah, having no Zach Charbonnet is a gigantic loss to that red zone. We've seen it already in the playoffs. They've thrown the ball a ton in the red zone versus running the ball with Charbonnet. He was a vulture this year for red zone touchdowns. So it's why Walker didn't score all that much this year comparatively on how much he carried the football. So
we know, Pro, as the fantasy managers for Ken Walker, we know too much about how he didn't score any touchdowns.
So in that, I think it's funny too because. Look, both Andrew and I are from New England, so we all have the memory of 2003 and what happened with the Red Sox and how when the Red Sox were in Game 7 and in came Tim Wakefield, Derek Jeter famously said, "Wait for the ghosts to show up." Well, the flip on this would be the Seahawks and having the ghost of Marshawn Lynch show up. That if the Patriots say, "Okay, I don't think you're going to throw it because if you run the ball here." Everyone in Seattle is going to say, okay, if you throw it and it doesn't work, you're going to have to go face that ferocious team. So you wonder if the Patriots are going to go ahead defensively and say, you're running the ball. We know you're not throwing the ball. So we're going heavy personnel every time. And we're going to expect our big boys to stop you guys running the football inside the 5-yard line. So I wonder how much that history factors into Mike McDonald, Pat.
Well, matchup wise too, it's the Patriots have been worse in the red zone against the pass. Yeah. Like on paper, they should be throwing it, but to your point, it's like, are they actually going to do that? Or are they like, no, we have to run the ball. We have to right the wrongs of Pete Carroll and Marshawn Lynch. We need to get a rushing touchdown here and not throw an interception. So it should be interesting to see.
Pat, anything else from a team or special bet perspective that we missed from you?
Not really from a team perspective.
Okay.
I've got some other assorted props and some player props we can get into.
Well, Erickson, you like over 2.5. So you like a trick play. So you think there's an Edelman moment coming up here for the Patriots, or do you think it's coming from Seattle where a third player throws the football?
I think for me, it's probably going to be Cooper Kupp. He
throwing
did this
the ball
in the last Rams. He did it in the last Rams Super Bowl. Like he had a pass attempt for the Rams. So I do think that some of the Patriots players are live. The 3 of them have attempted to pass this year. Efton Chisholm was the most recent guy who also did it in the playoffs.
Ugly.
So we know it's in Josh McDaniels' bag to
throw
throw a pass in the Super Bowl. He's done it like I said, like with Edelman before. And I think Cooper Kupp is probably the most likely player to do it. Also, too, don't forget, both quarterbacks have been kind of dealing with these injuries.
Right.
So there's a situation where, like Darnold, like he's like checking on his oblique. Drew Lock has to come in for a play, or Josh Dobbs has to come in if Drake May's shoulder is at 95% or whatever. Like, I just think there's a couple different outs for this bet to hit. I like it at plus money. And the fact that it also hit last year, and I did not like it at all last year. Last year, it hit in a really weird way because it was basically Kenny Pickett came in garbage time. So I think that with McDaniels and Kubiak, I think that they're going to get all the tricks out of the bag. And I think that we're going to see at least one non-quarterback throw a pass.
That's a really interesting point about the backup quarterbacks too, because like I had a fever dream when I was in San Francisco that like Josh Dobbs had to play and Josh Dobbs was awesome. Like like it was the Cleveland version of Josh Dobbs and he was just like slinging it everywhere. And everyone's like, oh my God, where did this come from? Because the Patriots hung on to him for a reason, much like what we saw last week or 2 weeks ago with the Broncos about, the Broncos really believed in their backup quarterback. Well, the Patriots really believe in their backup quarterback too. So Josh Dobbs in the preseason looked pretty good. So I don't want him to play, but I just wonder how that's going to go here on all this. Guys, I know you're saying that, FanDuel and Hard Rock and other books don't offer. This is what you're going to find right now on game day. Books are going to start to pull down certain bet markets or certain prop markets that they're heavy in or they're not comfortable putting up. And that's just the nature of the game. Like the books can put up numbers and put up markets on anything that they want to put up legally, what they're legally allowed to put up. They can take it down too. So I know customers get frustrated when we recommend plays, but that's why we've talked a lot about having multiple outs. Like you need to have multiple books to go and bet at because of that exact reason. Because when there is a good play, and I think Pat's right on the 5.5 sacks, I don't want to bet the individual team. I want both teams. So I want over 5.5, not just having one or two or, one either or. I want them both. So if you can shop around, definitely recommend shopping around MGM either. Yeah. I mean, books are going to pull it down. It's been a very popular bet. I think it's a good bet. I think it's a bet that's going to cash. And so I think Pat's right with this, and I would trail it if I were you guys. You haven't bet it yet, but finding it might be more difficult just here on game day. Because books I've started pulling these things down. So just FYI when it comes down to that. All right, let's get to the player props because there's a lot. We all have a lot of them, and where we can kind of go through them individually as they're all going to fall through here. Erickson, let's get to your card first from a player prop perspective. Give me two that you really like. We'll just do two apiece and we'll just kind of move through them that way.
Yeah, I like the receptions on both Travion Henderson and Hunter Henry. How do you attack the Seahawks defense, zone heavy defense with running backs and tight ends, right? Like that's really how teams have attacked this defense this year. Most receptions allowed to running backs at 5.7 per game, sixth most receptions allowed to tight ends. Hunter Henry has faced this defense before, 2024 last year. He had over 100 receiving yards in that game against Mike McDonald's defense. Now the personnel is not exactly the same, but I think Henry's going to be really involved in the offensive game plan. So I like him to go over 3.5 receptions. Travion Henderson, great stat about him. And this is for the BettingPros prop bet cheat sheet with the filters tool. You can filter the matchup by whether the team was a favorite or an underdog. Henderson, when the Patriots have been underdogs, 6-0 towards the over on his receptions, which is basically a reason of like, yeah, you see more running back targets when teams are trailing. So if there's a scenario where the Patriots as 4.5 point underdogs are trailing at any point in this game, well, I think you're going to get to see opportunities where they have to get Travion Henderson in space. And I think that we all kind of agree where you're not going to see the Patriots just like methodically move the football against the Seahawks defense. They have to get a big player to. How do you do that? You get the guy with the most juice on the team in Travion Henderson, get him in space. He breaks one tackle. He's off to the races. So I like Henderson to just catch a pass, which again, his line is so low. And I think that there's an opportunity if you want to aim for some more long shots is alternates on his receiving yards. His yards are so low. It's almost 10-1 odds for him to have 30 receiving yards. He can do that on one play.
I got 2.5. I'm running the same play, just different angle. I'm on over 2.5 receiving yards. I just think it's ridiculous. I saw that and I was like, 2.5. I was like, okay, wait. I know his last two games he hasn't been utilized, but this Seahawks defense has not been good against running backs. And I think he has to be a factor in this game for the Patriots to win. They can't just have one running back. They got to go in Henderson in a bunch of not just running the ball, but also receiving, have him in the screen game to slow down that pass rush.
Yep, I agree. I mean, you know who holds the record for the most receptions in a game in the Super Bowl? Isn't it James White with 14? Who was the offensive play caller?
Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels, right? Like, come on. Like, so, yes. And that was all in negative game script, right? They were down against the Atlanta Falcons. So if they are down 7-10 points, they have no choice, I think, but we got to use Henderson. And I think the reason it's so low, to your point about how he hasn't been used the last couple of weeks, does this matchup profile like those last two games? No. It looks like a much different matchup on paper. So, yeah, Henderson overs on a lot of his receiving stuff.
Pat, for you?
Both of my favorite player props involve Kenneth Walker III.
Okay. And
I like Walker under his rushing yardage total of 70.5. And it's just, he has been hot over his, last, I think 5 games since week 16. He's averaging 85.2 rushing yards per game and 5.3 yards per carry. And there's no Zach Charbonnet. So that means the Walker could get a pretty substantial workload, although I do think we'll see some George Holani. But the Patriots run defense, man, when they've got both Milton Williams and Robert Spillane playing, there have been 14 games that those two have played together. And the highest rushing total we have seen from any running back against a Patriots defense with Milton Williams and Robert Spillane playing, 58 yards by Breece Hall in week 11. And oh, by the way, in that game, Milton Williams left after 8 snaps hurt. Yeah. Otherwise, it's 53 yards, which was actually Sean Tucker of the Buccaneers. And I know that Walker is primarily an outside runner, and the Patriots are not quite as good against the outside run as they are against the inside run. But Devon Achane, terrific outside runner. They held him to 30 yards. Bijan Robinson, they held to 48 rushing yards. I mean, they held James Cook under 50 yards. They've been stopping some really good running backs, and in the playoffs, they've been just fantastic. So I think Walker finishes short. In New England's 3 playoff games, opposing running backs have averaged 38.7 rushing yards per game combined and 2.4 yards per carry. Like this run defense is just impregnable right now. So on the other hand, I do like Kenneth Walker to go over his receiving total, which I think is 21.5. He's beaten this number 3 straight games. He's had at least 29 receiving yards in all 3 of those games. He's averaged 3.7 catches, 38 receiving yards over that stretch. And, Seattle's running backs have been more involved in the passing game late in the year. Early on, not so much. Since week 11, they have combined average 5.1 targets, 4.3 catches, 39.1 receiving yards per game. Patriots allowed the 5th most receptions and 6th most targets to running backs during the regular season.
Mm. Yeah, I love the over on the reception on the yardage. I think that's how they're going to utilize him. I don't think they're going to be interested in running into the brick wall of the Patriots. I think they're going to want to throw the ball. I think Darnold wants to throw the ball. I think they know they need to kind of free up on the outside. So I was talking to Nick Ferguson, who's a former safety for the Broncos, and he obviously was all loving on the Seahawks, but he was talking about Christian Gonzalez and how he got burned by Mims over the top for the only touchdown. And that was because they were worried about the short passes to the running backs, and Gonzalez was playing up. So I think that's where you want to make the cornerbacks for the Patriots have to tackle Kenneth Walker in space. So I think that's what you're going to see from Walker on the outside, getting the football either in the screen game or in a short pass and let him go. So I love that. I don't think he goes over on his rushing yards, but I do think he goes over on his receiving yards. Same thing happened last week or 2 weeks ago with him where he didn't run the ball out effectively, but he caught the ball really effectively for this offense. So I like that a lot. For me, I mean, going back to the sack situation, I think this defense for the Patriots is going to give Sam Darnold fits up the gut. If I watched a breakdown here of the A and B gaps, and I've been talking about it all week. I think the Patriots are going to be able to, with Christian Barmore and Milton Williams, I think both guys are going to get after Sam Darnold. Milton Williams to record a sack is plus 210. If you want a crazy long shot Von Miller bet for today, Milton Williams to be the MVP of this game, it's not a crazy play. You're going to get a ridiculous return on it if you bet it. I like Trayvon Henderson, like I said, over 2.5 receiving yards. And here's the one thing that I'm going monster contrarian. How do you guys feel about Drake May? Longest completion, over 33.5 yards. The weather is going to make that shoulder feel good. And we need the return. If you're a Patriot backer, we need the return of the Drake May deep ball here coming up today for the Patriots. How do you guys feel about the longest completion going over 33.5 yards?
I don't hate it.
By the silence, I think you guys don't like it. That's fine.
What are the odds? What are the odds?
Minus 110.
See, I think if they complete a big play, it means they're probably going to win. So
Okay.
I think I would rather just bet the Patriots money line. I guess that's kind of how I would see it.
But they could be trailing. I mean, they could be down and need to make a throw and make a throw late and have a. It also takes in a Hail Mary into account. So there's a lot of different ways you can have a long completion here in a game.
Swing pass to Kenneth Walker could do it.
Well, no, it's Drake May only though. Just Drake May.
Wait. Sorry, Drake May.
Yeah, it's just Drake May over 33.5.
Or swing pass to Henderson.
Right. In a swing, he goes, or a Stephon Diggs thing. I know you had an interesting play, Andrew, where the 18.5 under 18.5 yards, miles per hour for Stephon Diggs. That's a market I never would touch. Why do you like that?
Well, again, I bet all the unders on people's miles per hour because I have no idea how they're exactly tracking this type of metric. I'm going to be out there with my radar gun trying to figure out how fast these guys are running.
How do you fight that with gaming? You go and you're like, hey, I swear he was running 20 miles per hour. I clocked it myself.
I'm trusting the chips. And I looked at every single next-gen stat through every single week, the top 20 guys. Stephon Diggs has never hit 18.5 miles per hour this year. So again, I don't know if this is the game where he's gonna get all that speed back because it's the final game of the season. But I think the number was way too high. Obviously, if he breaks a big one, but Diggs really that hasn't been his game all year. It's been catch the ball and fall down, like get the first down. Like that's really been his game for the most part. So that's what I like as one of the props. I bet unders on a bunch of the Patriots tight ends. George Halani to hit 18.5 miles per hour. Again, it's a weird market, and that's why I bet all unders because I don't have confidence that these are super sharp lines. I looked and most of those players I just listed off, Austin Hooper, Hunter Henry, these guys are nowhere near hitting 18.5 miles per hour from the information I was able to seep through, which took me about 20 minutes to do. So
I don't know how Stephon Diggs would get, just given the routes he runs. He's not a guy who, unless the Seahawks completely blow coverage and their safeties get beat and like he runs a slant pattern where they're just nobody home. I don't know how he gets into the open field because that's Marcus Jones. That's what he did against the Broncos. Marcus Jones is the one that runs that slant, that quick break it and go to the house. What? I mean, I don't know if I touch him over 18.5 miles per hour, but I think that's crazy. I mean, do you have an average for Stephon Diggs? I can't see it being over 10 miles per hour.
It's not. So his speed, again, this was all courtesy of next gen stats. I believe last year with the Texans, his speed was average was 14 miles per hour.
Okay.
And that was with the Texans.
Before or after the
Well, that was
knee?
before his injury.
Okay.
So that's the other thing.
even worse.
He's also a 32-year-old wide receiver. I'm just like putting the pieces together. And again, we'll all find out together when I check my sportsbook account and say, did I win or lose? Because I'm not going to see him watching it live unless he rips off a long run. So again, someone's asking in the chat what books post the speed lines. Most of the books have these somewhere. Next Gen Stats, fastest ball carrier. They have individual ones for some of the players. I know they'll have a entire game one where I believe that Shaheed is the favorite at 2-1 to be the fastest player recorded, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But
Marcus Jones, though. Jones might, if he gets into the open field.
Yeah. So
we'll see what happens with that.
We'll see.
Guys, we're here. It is the big game. Our friends at Hard Rock Bet, the sponsor of this live stream, Florida Sportsbook, they've got Seattle at -4.5 over New England. For games like this, it's not just about the basic bets, as we know. Hard Rock Bet is loaded with special props you can't find anywhere else any time of the year. You can bet scoregami, opening kickoff touchback, off-the-wall bets that make every snap matter. These prop bets only come around once a year, so you can have some fun. Hard Rock Bet is doing something fun here for new signups. You win, they're going to double your winnings for your first 10 bets up to $50 max. So if you would have won $100, you'll win $200. They also are giving away $7 million in the big game bonus party. You place a $10 big game parlay and you'll get a share of $7 million in bonus bets, win or lose. Big game means big time. Hard Rock VIP rolling out the red carpet for their VIPs with things like private jets, 5-star hotels, and game tickets. It's a great time to jump in with Hard Rock Bet. Download the Hard Rock Bet app and make your first deposit today. Okay. Couple of quirky, weird ones. Let's just talk about what everybody cares about. Heads or tails, Erickson?
Tails never fails. Let's go.
Pat?
I've always been a heads guy.
Heads guy. I'll go heads. I'll break the tie. Sharp money, by the way, at some books are on heads. Why? I have no idea.
It's because everyone falls. Tails never fails.
It's ridiculous. So, national anthem. Charlie Puth should be a bigger artist. Real ones know the reference. He's singing the national anthem. 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Over or under, Erickson?
Get the show on the road. Under.
Pat?
I'll say under.
I think it's going under because I don't think the guy has a voice like any other artist that sings the national anthem. I think it's going to take some people to figure out who the hell is Charlie Puth and why is he singing the national anthem. Secondly, he's like a singer-songwriter. He's not like a Whitney Houston that's going to hold every note all the way until the end. On average, people have gone back and done the actual time that the national anthem is supposed to be sung is 1 minute and 40 seconds. That's how long the song officially is supposed to go. I might even go under that. I think the guy's going to rush through the song. I think it's going to be really quick. I'm with Andrew. I think it's going to get over with and get it on. So I'm good with that. What color is the Gatorade, Erickson?
Lemon lime. Green/yellow, whatever. Yeah. Probably look shocked that this is the color that I picked.
Sorry, did I freeze? I might have frozen. It just reset. Is that, wait a minute, you're taking the Patriots, but you're taking lemon lime? Patriots go Seahawks colors?
Yeah.
Wow.
The ultimate troll job by the New England Patriots to take the other team's Gatorade color.
That would be tremendous. Pat, what's the color of the Gatorade?
I feel like we see a lot of orange, Matt. I'm going orange.
You know, it's funny. I asked an active player that, and I forget which player said that orange is the most hydrating of all the colors. That's a total mental.
That cannot be scientifically backed.
It's not even close to being scientific, but he said orange is the most. He goes, most players will tell you that orange is the most hydrating. I was like, what the hell? How's that possible? But that's what he said. So maybe the Patriots go orange and whoever gets it. And then if the Seahawks if they win and they don't throw lime green on McDonald, that would be like the biggest upset of the. It would be crazy if that were to not happen, given that's their team color. So it would be stunning.
That's it. I'm switching from beer to orange Gatorade and vodka for my drink of choice. Stay hydrated. That's
tremendous. Seth, we already answered the super chat. I don't know if you were away from the screen, but we already answered that super chat, just FYI, that we had in the comment section. We did that earlier. Yeah, we answered that before. As to what you can do. So my teaser, if you're looking for teasers, there's a teaser I gave you guys. If you want to do that, it's Pats plus 10.5 and then under 51.5. If you're looking for that, total points over under parlay. I think if you're going to go Seahawks win, you're going to play the under. I think the Patriots and the under equally, or Patriots and the over equally, depending on how you want to play that. But I don't think you need to parlay today. I don't think you need to group things together, because I think you're running into a game in which there's some vastly different opinions on how the game is going to get played. And so you can get plus money. Patriots money line is plus money. So like, if you just want to go ahead and take a plus money bet, like Pat's talking about, go ahead and take the Patriots at plus money to get you there. Let me ask you guys about coaching. So Mike Vrabel, first year head coach for the Patriots. 32 different head coaches have won a Super Bowl after being hired. This is going back to 1966, but only 4 of them have done it in their first season. Gary Kubiak, Brian Billick, and George Seifert. Don McCaffrey did it with the Baltimore Colts back in 1970. I don't really think that factors in coming up here with this. But how much does coaching matter in your mind in this game for Vrabel versus McDonald?
I like
Erickson started.
Oh, go ahead, Erickson.
I think it matters with these micro types of coaching plays where you're seeing, what are they doing with 2 minutes left? Are they being aggressive or are they being conservative? What are they using with their timeouts? And I think that, at least, I can't say what I've seen from McDonald in terms of how, because I haven't followed him just as closely as obviously the Patriots and Mike Vrabel, but Vrabel has excelled as like the CEO head coach this year. We're taking advantage of every single edge. And he did this when he was with the Titans. I remember, again, against the Patriots in the playoffs. Like, he was calling timeouts, so they couldn't substitute certain players. So, like, just doing every micro advantage that he can find, he's doing it. And part of that is because he's not as involved with defensive, offensive play call. Like, and that's why I think Vrabel does have a slight edge over McDonald, who, again, is more preoccupied with the defense of the Seattle Seahawks versus, okay, Vrabel is overseeing everything,
right? Because
he has an offensive, defensive, play caller. So that's why I give a slight edge to Vrabel. But I do think it matters, especially fourth quarter, 2 minute opportunities. I think it matters the most.
Pat, for you?
That's part of the fun in this game, that we've got the CEO head coach versus the master tactician.
Yeah.
And McDonald is just this brilliant defensive designer and play caller. And Vrabel is a guy who I forget. I wish I could give credit to whoever had the byline on this, but there was an excellent, like, sort of an oral history type thing on Vrabel. This article talking to a bunch of people who have played with him, played for him, and just like, I think his guys are going to be ready to run through a wall for him today. And like, he seems to put his coaches in, like, delegates responsibility to them, trust them. And I find the coaching matchup pretty fascinating. So I have a lot of faith in Vrabel.
I find the coaching matchup fascinating, and I find the quarterback matchup fascinating because of what Sam Darnold's history has looked like, both in the NFL, in the playoffs, and also against the Patriots. He's 0-4 against the Patriots, and in 4 games, he scored a grand total of 23 points against the Patriots. Now, that's with the Jets, and that's different. But this is a guy who has been caught on the sidelines saying, I'm seeing ghosts. Like, you can affect Sam Darnold. You can get at Sam Darnold, Pat. And I know everyone's talked about Drake May and the fact the Patriots offense has been so bad, but I can't believe people have just automatically overlooked or not considered that Sam Darnold might have a bad day today.
Yeah. And here's the other thing, Matt. So far in the playoffs, Drake May has had to face the Texans and Broncos, 2 fantastic defenses.
The Chargers weren't bad either.
Yeah, Chargers. So he doesn't really have to level up here. Like, he has already kind of walked a gauntlet with the defenses he's faced, whereas Sam Darnold got to face the injury depleted, decimated 49ers, who's, their defensive personnel shredded, and the Rams, who were much better defensively earlier in the season than they were later in the year, when they were kind of waning in their defensive effectiveness. So, like, it's Darnold who's going to have to level up today. Drake May has already been facing good defenses week in, week out in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm so fascinated to see how both offenses are run, because Kubiak, clearly, you can't tell me that Clint Kubiak, that there's not some level of, I'm going to Vegas tomorrow. Like, they're just naturally, human nature would say that this is just a little bit, he's going to be a head coach for the first time underneath Tom Brady the greatest quarterback of all time is your boss, and you have to run an offense with a first-year quarterback because they're going to draft Mendoza out of Indiana. So he's got to go ahead and build this offensive line and get this team, come here. So I just wonder how that's going to go. We have seen this season, and I know the Rams, people love on this Rams defense. I'm not very high on the Rams defense, and we saw 4 picks in a game for Sam Darnold against the Rams defense. So this Patriot defense is far better than the Rams defense, and they've been extremely opportunistic, as we saw in the game against the Texans. The Patriots can turn the ball over consistently. I find it so fascinating that everyone is just so quick to say that Drake May's a bum and that Sam Darnold is this all-pro lookout as to what's going to happen here for this offense against the Patriots. It was remarkable to sit and talk with people all week, and the groupthink that has gone on here where this game's already over. Like, this game is not, why are we even playing this game? This game should not be played. And Erickson, you and I know this. The last time this happened where the Patriots were doubted this heavily didn't go so well for the team they were facing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the fact the Patriots are underdogs, I mean, Mike Vrabel's definitely told them that all week long. Like, hey, everyone's counting us out, just like they counted us out when we were facing the Rams in 2001. Like,
well, to your point, Mike Tomlin is 73-51 straight up as a head coach in the NFL. If you bet $100 on him, he's basically the best. He is the best in the last 20 years. Betting $100 on the head coach on the Patriots or anyone else he's coaching, he's ahead of Mike Tomlin in terms of where he is from an ROI perspective. When you put the Patriots as a dog, when you took Mike Vrabel under a dog, his teams are 31-32 straight up. And when you go against the spread, he's 35-26-2 as an underdog. That is just ridiculous. And when he faces a good team, he's 17-10 against the number against a team with a winning percentage over 65%. Like, when he plays good teams, Pat, his teams play well.
Yeah. Excellent point. I have nothing to add.
I just think it's a one thing that I found to be so interesting about. So the Patriots aren't, people hate the Patriots for a variety of reasons, right? They're sick of the brand. They're sick of the Robert Kraft. They're sick of everything. And I get it to a point as to how people will approach this. I just feel like there's such an interesting bias that people are blinded by Brady and Belichick, who aren't in this game. Like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, Andrew, even though we'd love to see them play in this game, they're not in this game. This is a totally different team.
Yeah, although Tom Brady's not rooting for the Patriots. If you
he is now, he saved his ass.
Yeah, because his publicist was like, they built a freaking statue of you outside their stadium.
What are you doing? Right. Yeah. And see what he did? He said, hey, Robert, go get number 7 to tie me. So even when he was saying go Patriots, he was still being a narcissist. So like Brady is, I don't know what he's trying to do. I know he's got a lot of pressure here in Vegas. I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of people pissed off at Tom Brady here in Las Vegas, and the Kubiak hire better be good. So I think that they factored into it a lot about trying to separate himself because, well, the Raiders hate the Patriots. So if your owner is a Patriot mole, he's a Patriot spy, that could be problematic for him. So
I think you're getting into something that sort of gets at the betting psychology of this game, Matt, that a lot of people see this iteration of the Patriots as sort of a pale imitation of the Brady Patriots. And that's why a lot of people seem to think that the Seahawks are going to run away with this.
And again, I just think the Patriots are knocked down because of what you will see. Like Micah Parsons, I've been talking about his comments for the last couple of days because like this is not what this game is supposed to look like. The betting odds with the Patriots at 90-1 and Seattle at 60-1, I'll give it to you. I mean, in terms of like the brand, there's no Philadelphia. The Eagles aren't here. The Chiefs aren't here. The 49ers aren't here. Like your typical brands that have been in this game for the last 10 years, this is abnormal. And for people who hate the Patriots, I can't tell you how many times I've seen and heard this week about they don't deserve this. The Patriots don't deserve to be here. They had such a great run. You're supposed to suck for 2 decades like everyone else that has, like the Cowboys have done. The Patriots are supposed to be bad. The Cowboys had their run with Aikman, and then they never did anything else since. And the Patriots have won 6, and now they're back in their 12th Super Bowl. And somehow that means this game is going to go for Seattle because the world is cheering for Seattle. I don't know. I think coaching is huge because I think the halftime is going to be really interesting, not because of who's performing, but because it normally is a tale of 2 halves in the NFL. And so that 30-minute break, that is different, Pat. We don't see a 30-minute halftime in the regular season.
Right. So it could be a complete sea change, second half versus what we see in the first half.
You got to you got to warm up again, and it gives the coaches a chance. Like that's why we saw back, when Sean Payton was able to go and meet with his coaches and say, "Let's do an onside kick" and do that. Like there's different times to change your strategy and pivot because you have a 30-minute break between. It's almost the tail of two games. So be very curious to see what the score is at halftime, and very, very curious to see how the teams play in the second half. All right, let's go over our full cards here. Pat, let's start with you. Your full card for the game tonight.
Yeah, so I'm going Patriots money line, as mentioned earlier. The under and on 45.5 is my favorite bet, and I'm contemplating taking under 34.5 at 3-1. I think it's going to be that ugly a game. And for player props, I mentioned how much I revere this Patriots run defense, which is why I think Kenneth Walker under 70.5 rushing yards. No running back has gotten to 60 rushing yards in any game against the Patriots when they've had Milton Williams and Robert Spillane. But I do like Walker over the receiving yardage. He's been trending that way. It's gone over 3 straight games over this number, and the Patriots have given up receiving yards to running backs during the regular season. And then I like the sack total in this game. I think both pass rushes have mismatches here that they can take advantage of. We're going to see a lot of sacks. I mean, Drake May has taken 5 sacks in all 3 playoff games so far. One last one. I think we're going to see a touchback on a punt. I'm betting that at plus 125. For one thing, I think we're going to see a lot of punts. For another, I don't think the special teams coaches are going to consider it that much of a faux pas to boot one into the end zone when you're trying to avoid Marcus Jones or Rashid Shaheed, maybe the 2 best punt returners in the league.
But you're talking about the 2 best punters on that stat. You're going massive contrarian. I went deep into that, looked at that. There's only 3 punts all year for the Seattle punter to go into the end zone all year for him. And I think it's 5 for the Patriots punter. Wow. I love what did you get plus money on that?
Yeah. Plus 125.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I mean, weird things happen in Super Bowls. So I bet things like Drake May over 33.5. Everyone's like, that's a crazy bet. But I think on the surface, just given the history of the 2 punters, it would say no, we're not going to get a touchback on a punt. But at plus money, weird things happen in Super Bowls. Guys get pumped up.
You want to bet on a punt getting downed inside the 5-yard line last year, Matt. So you're no stranger to exotic punt props.
I can't find that anywhere. That is not up.
I know.
I cannot find that bet anywhere. Not even. I just want it inside the 10-yard line. That's what I won the bet last year. It was inside the 10-yard line, having a punt down inside the 10-yard line, and no one's got that market up because it hit last year. I think they were afraid of getting buried again. So on that, Andrew, for you, your card.
Yeah, so I'm taking the Patriots also on the money line. Love them on the money line. And with the points, again, if you're betting against the spread, to the things that we talked about earlier, I think that they're just being undervalued. I like them as the underdog. Mike McDonald's been really good in rematches, 8-0 in rematches, and playing the same team for the second time or third time. He's brought in to Seattle to stop the Rams and 49ers, not the Patriots necessarily. So I just think that schematically, I think the Patriots match up well against Seattle. So I think that their odds are kind of like what Fitz said earlier, closer to a 50-50 type of coin flip versus, hey, they're 4.5-point dogs. So I think the value is definitely there on the money line, especially when you can get it plus 190, plus 200. I also like the under at 45.5. Really like the under in the first half, 23.5 points, minus 140. In terms of, I have kind of some alternate lines as well, similar to the one that you have, Perrault, just a little different. This one pays out a little bit more. Patriots plus 6.5, which I've hit in every single game except for one all year, and under 52.5. So I think that's really the best way to do it, is you just get a better line on the Patriots and just bring the total up to 51 or 52.5. I think that's a good way to get more bets in on a certain, when it comes to the spread and the total in the game. Tailing Fitz on the Ken Walker play. Traven Henderson's probably my favorite player to bet on because all of his numbers are just so low. And I just think he's going to have a big role in this game plan for the Patriots. I think that they drafted him for a reason, to be a difference maker, to bend the field in terms of his speed, explosiveness. So I think they're going to get him in space. That's where Seattle has been vulnerable, especially against running backs in the passing game. So I think Henderson is just in line to, he catches one long pass, we're hitting a ton of bets. at really long odds. So I like Henderson a lot. Hunter Henry over 3.5 receptions. Stephon Diggs under 18.5 miles per hour. Just like laughing saying this prop because it's just so ludicrous that this isn't even thing that you can bet on. But hey, that's what the Super Bowl is all about. Yep. Seahawks over 3.5 sacks. Players to attempt to pass. I like some non-quarterback, so over 2.5. You get that close to plus 200. And then we didn't talk about touchdowns, but Henderson, I like him to score. Hunter Henry, I like him to score. And then I got to have something on the first touchdown. So I am using the Seattle Seahawks, who are the team that should score first based on the odds. Eric Saubert, first touchdown is plus 8,000. Wow. He is one of the tight ends on the Seattle Seahawks. He's respected by the coaches and the players for how well he does blocking wise. So he's going to be in red zone packages if the Seahawks are down there. And if they go after that hard play action because everyone's expecting the run, I think Eric Saubert can find himself wide open in the back of the end zone. So at 80-1, Eric Saubert first touchdown. That'll be my fun sweat.
Well, Matt Collins showed up in the Hannibal Lecter costume today. So that's how he walked in today, to give you an idea of what the Patriots mentality is. Full jumpsuit and a gigantic mask over his mouth. So Patriots are, he is the one that has brought out the Warriors, come out and play, which is the rallying cry for the Patriots. Also, that it's been now this new meme machine for the Patriots. So let's see what he turns out to look like today. For me, I have two future bets on the Patriots and the Seahawks. So I'm at 14-1 for Seattle and 11-1 for the Patriots. So it doesn't matter who winds up winning. So for me, I'm good. Seahawks over 45.5 and the Patriots. I think I'm going major contrarian. The game is going to go over. I like 27-24 Patriots. First half, Patriots, you can get 3.5 now for the Patriots in the first half. The Patriots numbers in the first half have been absolutely ridiculous. They're 18-1-2 so far this year, ATS wise, and they have been on the money line. They've won on the money line or pushed on the money line for every first half dating back to week 3 of the NFL. Shortest touchdown under 1.5 yards. Sam Darnold get picked off here by this Patriot defense. I think Milton Williams will be a big part of that interception. He'll also record a sack here today at plus 210. And as Erickson said, Travion Henderson over 2.5 receiving yards. The teaser is Patriots plus 10.5 and then under 51.5. Like Erickson talked about, you can take the Patriots up. He takes it to 6.5. I took it all the way up to 10.5, and I'm getting, you're obviously laying minus 130, 135 juice on that, but under 51.5. If 27-24 Patriots come in, we hit both those bets, and we get the teaser to come in here as well. There's a couple of other ones that we tossed out, as I talked about. Drake May going over 33.5 for his longest reception. I like that. And then let me see, is that all of them? I think that's all of them. So just to add on to that, the Drake May longest completion for over 33.5. Caesar is saying both teams' first possession to end in a punt is plus 295. That seems to be really poorly priced. Is that right? Tank, double check that. Is that right? You get 3-1 odds on both teams' first drives ending in a punt. That's a must play at that price, is it not, guys?
Sounds good to me.
I mean, I'm trying
to find it.
I mean, I'm playing points in the first 6.5 minutes. So like, I'm kind of against that on that. So like, I like, that's the other that was on the screen. That's the other bet that I've made is points in the first 6.5 minutes. That was on last night's juice. So like, I like that, but I don't know, man, that seems to be pretty likely given both quarterbacks and how jittery I think both teams are going to be in for their first drives. Both, I mean, again, I guess a field goal and or turnover ends the bet.
Right.
But I mean, both teams to punt, I don't know. That seems to be rather likely.
Yeah.
No?
3-1. I don't hate it based on my narrative of the game and how I see things unfolding.
Wow.
I could get on board.
Okay. That's an interesting look. That's a pretty nice price at 3-1 to hit on that.
Everybody will be wondering why you're cheering after there's nothing that's happened in the Super Bowl. You're like, wait, why are you cheering? Like, that's why.
3-1, baby, 3-1. Let's go. That's okay. That's an interesting. That's a market that I don't agree with that price. I think it's a good bet, but the price is woo. Okay. All right, guys. On the way out, Pat, your final thoughts before kickoff here at the top of the hour.
I'll say it's going to be 17-16 Patriots. A defensive slog and savor this one, everyone, because after this, we don't get meaningful NFL football games for 7 months.
My God, 17-16 means I'll probably end up walking 10,000 steps in my living room. Just the pacing, the pacing will be brutal if it's 17-16. Erickson, your closing thoughts.
Patriots 23-20. So under cashes, Patriots win by a field goal, and the start to the next dynasty begins.
Wow. I'm not calling that. I'm not going that far. For my closing thoughts, first, I want to thank both of you for spending as much time as you did with me every Sunday before kickoff. I really appreciate your insight. I appreciate your knowledge, and it's been an absolute joy to do this all year. I can't wait to get back going in September to bring it back up again and to be able to break down football games. I mean, this has been a very emotional year for me, just losing my best friend and my co-host of my other show who passed away. And it's made me really look to appreciate the time I get to spend with really smart people. So I want to thank both of you guys for what you have brought to this show each and every week. And I hope the audience has equally appreciated the time you guys have given on a very busy Sunday for you guys, because how much stuff you guys do for the company, both with Fantasy Pros and with Betting Pros. This is my 12th time watching my team play. The Patriots are 6-5 all time in the Super Bowl. So losing this would stink. They would go to 6-6. Do I think a dynasty begins if they win this thing? I hope so. I wish this game wasn't being played because I like this team so much. This will go down, win or lose, is one of my favorite Patriots seasons ever. This is up there with the 2001 season and the run going through Pittsburgh and the injury to Drew Bledsoe and everyone doubting Tom Brady and thinking this 24-year-old kid from Michigan who was a 6th-round draft pick had no place being in a Super Bowl. And then the Patriots beat the living daylights out of the Rams. And I'm wondering if that's going to be the strategy here for the Patriots against Seattle. Hit them again and try to beat the living dog crap out of them for 4 quarters. And that's how they wind up winning this game. I don't think this is a blowout. And maybe come Monday morning, I'm eating massive crow and it's a 30-3 blowout and it's 85 all over again. But
it was the cupcake schedule.
You know what's coming. You know the narrative. You know all the conversations. It's all going to be there. It's all going to be just so. I really hope that that's not what's going to happen. I really hope that that's not what the narrative is. I hope we get a great game. I hope we avoid controversy. And in final, I just hope the referees are not the story. Let's not have a conversation about replay, what is and what is not a catch, and whether or not it was pass interference.
Oh my God. The catch thing. Oh my God.
Okay. Can we please just not do simultaneous possession, rolling over? Did he catch it? Was it an interception? Was it a fumble? Was he down? Was he not? Can we just have a game where one team wins and one team loses, and we're not sitting there and having the same baloney conversation come Monday, Pat?
Amen to that.
For Seth in the back, he is Pat Fitzmaurice, Andrew Erickson. I'm Matt Perrault. Thank you guys for being here. Have fun. Enjoy it. We'll recap it, obviously. We'll have a lot to say on our Betting Pros socials and during in-game and on our Discord channel. Come on over and watch the game with us. Enjoy Super Bowl 60, everybody.